It is smart of him to actually show a battle with Wakia, since we've had a lot of talk from him, but we still don't know if he's just cocky or if he earned it. So this battle not only shows us he means what he says, but it shows how in control Wakia is during his battles, which is something he shows in Wyvern in the Way and loses against Volt in the semi-finals.
Wyvern is zooming in ridiculously fast.
Interesting how the commentator says that Wyvern is ridiculously fast, and yet when they actually are describing the shield launch, they say that it looks like it's stopped, but Daigo knows that it's because it's moving so fast. So does the commentator know more than he's letting on, or is this just not the shield launch? Because I would presume it is, because it behaves the same.
So close, but feels so far. What's the point of even setting my alarm?
I know it's a joke, and I do think it's funny, but like, you didn't set an alarm, so how the hell do you know how effective it would be? You'd think at some point they would show the alarm going off and Volt sleeping through it, so that we know that he has one, whereas right now, we just think that everyone thinks he has one, including himself, but he just doesn't.
Hey there. Isn't your name Vault Aoi?
God, the animation on Daigo is so perfect. Like, those cartoonishly big eyes clearly indicate he is doing an overly nice act, since he looks more friendly with them, but it isn't his normal design. As well, the voice Anthony Kim is doing sells it even further, which makes this a really good moment.
Really? You actually think so?
Also like how this moment really shows that Volt is buying Daigo's act hook, line, and sinker, considering how he's bragging to Rantaro, and even Hancho isn't quite getting that this is an act, only Ken's really suspicious of it.
Thing is, I was kind of hoping we could get in a practice round before our real battle tomorrow.
While I do like this moment for Volt's enthusiasm, it is weird how despite what happens here with Daigo, he still accepts the match from Wakia, but I guess more on that when we get there.
Give me a break.
Really like the way this line works, as you can really tell from this that Daigo is a master of the psychological part of the game, which is a good angle to take after we already had two bladers who intimidated Volt only on strength in Ken and Rantaro.
Daigo! What did you do?
Also, this is a great moment for showing Volt's connection with his bae while setting up Daigo's redemption at the end of the episode.
Oops, I made a mess. Want to clean that up?
Also, this is an epic conclusion to Daigo's mind games. They really nailed it with this line.
I figured as much. If that's what he's like, his rush launch is going to be totally useless.
It's also nice how he just says Volt's rush launch won't work, rather than Volt is guaranteed to lose, because it shows that Daigo's a lot more calculated than cocky, which is again a good contrast to Rantaro.
You think Daigo might have done something to it? Like sabotaged it somehow?
I mean, I get the thought process, but like, you saw him the whole time. He was holding it, and all he did was burst it and drop it. And besides, what could he have even done to the bae to sabotage it? If you wanted to sabotage your opponent's launch technique, you'd think you'd sabotage his launcher, right?
My bae isn't the problem here.
Though I do like how defensive Volt gets over Valtryek, because it does further reinforce their connection without having to show him resonating. It is good they show Daigo watching Volt, but because it would be kind of stupid of him to just assume his plan worked and go home, whereas here he sees for himself that it worked because he can not only see how riled up Volt is, but also how ineffective his launches are, which makes it more logical the fact that he doesn't need to train as hard, and because we see him visiting his brother rather than practicing for the match.
We're gonna pack up for the day, buddy.
Man!
Good subtle Rantaro moment for him to simply sigh at how out of it Volt is, since it shows how much he cares for Volt, but also his lack of desire to get right into his friend's problems.
That is such a good idea.
This line gets me every time. The simplicity of the line and the delivery just really sells it.
This is so delicious!
This is a good way to show Volt getting back to normal while also showing how Shu cares for his friend, because we haven't seen how much he cares outside of the sport of blading, so it's cool to see it here.
His hair is so much spikier than mine!
But as well, it's cool how despite Volt getting somewhat back to normal, you can tell how psyched out he is by Daigo, with just how much he's thinking about Daigo's superiority to him in the areas that he barely is or isn't.
It's the best show I've ever seen. Know what? We're good friends now, too.
Nice.
Also, it is cool how the show understands that for the viewer to be on board with Daigo joining the group, they need to balance his moments of being an antagonist with moments that can make us empathize with him. And I like how the scene in the hospital also recontextualizes why Daigo wants to win against Volt so bad to make his brother proud, which is a good moment to show why he did all this shit to Volt.
Don't forget.
I also like how, since Daigo saw how well bursting Valtryek in front of him worked to psych Volt out, he just mimics doing it again here to really get him out of his cool right before the match. It shows just how much thought actually went into his plan to trying to sabotage Volt to easily win this match.
Reel it in! You gotta be classy! me!
You know he can't hear you, right? This is how Vault is. He loses his cool.
Like I said before, the only one allowed to point that out is Shu in this tournament, and it always seems to be Rantaro that forgets this fact.
Calm down now, Vault. You practiced. You got it under control. Just chill your jets. But man, I can't stand that guy.
Love how you can see Volt trying to regain his cool, but at the end you can tell that Daigo is just completely in his head, and even right after Daigo admits that he didn't expect his plan to work this well, although I guess he probably should have, considering all the things Waki has said about Volt during the second battle, but whatever. This theme is awesome for the tone of this battle. Honestly, this is why I complain about them using the final battle all the time, because they can be good with composing really nice sounding, thematically accurate themes, but they still just use part of that theme here anyway in this battle, so I don't know why I'm giving them this, but I am.
Has luck finally run out on this fairy tale story?
He says how like Volt hasn't given up 1 point every round for every battle he's had, and this was by far his worst miss launch, so to be honest, I wouldn't think this would be indicative of his luck running out.
Not the time to be reflective!
I mean, isn't a point loss the exact time to be reflective? You know, because you want to know why you lost that point so you can do better next time. I get that Rantaro means that Volt shouldn't be stuck in his head, but then why wouldn't he just, you know, say that?
Hey, kid, is everything alright?
I do like how the ref does take notice of how the competitors are feeling in case they need a timeout. Really does make this seem more like a real sport in this world. And I also love Volt's response, because that's exactly how most people would respond to that question while they're rattled.
Come on, open your eyes. Daigo isn't your biggest opponent. It's you, yourself.
Yeah, it is good that Shu realizes just how psyched out Daigo has got Volt here, both because of this battle and what he said to him the previous night, and that's the reason Daigo won, not because he uses blading skills, since Shu has already seen what Daigo can do, and it certainly wasn't on that level.
I've gotta remember the fundamentals.
Cool, after the failed rush launch, Volt takes a step back and realizes he can't keep trying this move, and he needs to go back to basics to be able to stand a chance.
Huh? It worked that time!
See what I mean? They use this for the final battle of Evolution and this season. They really shouldn't be using it on random rounds at the start of the season. It's cool how Volt's use of fundamentals is enough to keep him from losing, but that Daigo isn't an easy opponent, so they keep tying. Nice way of making this battle feel closer than it is.
Time! And again! And again!
Weird how the ref says "and again" here, whereas you would think he would have to say simultaneous burst finish every time, you know, to stay professional, but I guess we don't hear the ref in Shu vs Volt in Evolution, so I could be talking out my ass right now, but I just think the ref would probably have to say professional in the district tournament.
The sixth battle closes with the same call!
Here's a question. Daigo isn't using Quake Launch obviously here, and the question is why? Because we can tell from its trajectory this is an angled launch. So once again we have an instance of a character not using a move that later gets named, which makes the battle seem a lot more lame because it makes it seem like they're not trying as hard.
Go for the gold, Valtryek! Get in there! Watch out! Careful!
The sheer amount Volt talks here is really good for showing his passion for the game while also showing his connection to his bae, which is again good that they reinforce a lot considering they didn't really do much with it last episode, or even the one before that.
Nice one! He's killing it! That's my friend! I know him!
I really want to stop pointing this out, but Matt really doesn't want to stop giving me things to talk about, so oh well, this is amazing.
See that? He's using his weakness in his own favor.
That being said, the fact Shu knows Volt the longest does make it logical that he's the one who recognizes that Volt is actually using his weakness properly this time, which is pretty nice.
It's not that simple. Look at his legs, too.
Also, it's cool how much emphasis is put on the way a blader launches in this season, as in the power, the stance, the launch angle, all this stuff that can change a base trajectory and strength. Shame launching just becomes a token thing in later seasons, because all this focus on mechanics of launching really takes my cynical mind from the fact that it's just an excuse to waste a few seconds on a bank animation to save money.
Don't you worry, Ryota. It's just a little hiccup.
Also cool they have Daigo think about he's winning this for Ryota before he starts linking them, since it still shows his motivation for what he's done, while also showing why he starts having fun when he links them.
Yo, Shu, I don't know if it's just me and I'm imagining things.
What is it?
Daigo's looking different, wouldn't you say?
It's nice to have Rantaro work out the difference with Daigo, since he hasn't really shown any insight in a while, and it is good for showing the value of each member of the group. The show does balance its cast a lot better than I remembered, though I guess they don't do much with Ken this episode.
You're right.
They're having fun!
Also, I like how when Daigo links Ryota and Volt, it doesn't make him like Volt right away, but it does make him start actually thinking of this battle as a way to have fun instead of a stepping stone on the way to the finals, which is a good way to make us realize that Volt and Daigo are about to become friends without outright saying it yet.
You're the best big brother ever.
Back at ya.
Also cool how Daigo kept up his facade in front of Volt after the battle, but the second no one can see him, you see how he really feels about that battle, which is nice.
What?
As if you guys could even keep up with me.
Also, it's cool how Daigo's happy for his brother, yet he still doesn't really want to join them yet, though it doesn't really last that long, but it's still nice for showing how his walls don't come down instantly as soon as he loses, like they did for Antara.
I'm sorry for what I did to Veltriek.
Cool how after he lost, Daigo understood that he went a bit over the line, so he apologizes to Volt on something he previously chastised him for, that being caring about Veltriek too much, since it shows that he has changed some.
Surrender to my will! Sign up for the Bay Club!
Okay, while I do think this line is quite a bit over the top and evil sounding, I do like the rest of this gag, so while I would have toned this line way back, I think the rest of it works. This episode is amazing, has a lot of good Daigo moments that carefully balance empathetic moments and moments of making him an antagonist to really show how Volt feels, but also show why he changes. Some good Volt moments to show a slow character arc of getting over trash talk, and even some good moments with Shu and Rantaro, though Ken doesn't get too much. So overall, great episode. Excited to move on to the next one, though it isn't as amazing. See ya!